Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome to another episode of Ask the Alima with me, your host, Alima Naeema. So great to be back talking about a really important topic, and it only seems right with Christmas tomorrow to be talking about Christmas and how Muslims should be approaching Christmas in the UK. Now, I know it can be a very sticky topic for many, especially as Muslims, when we ask constantly, like, what are you doing for Christmas and how are you celebrating and what are you doing to celebrate Christmas this year? And sometimes as Muslims, even me, myself, we just don't know how to approach the question and how to go about talking to our families about where we stand with the festivities and the religious celebration of Christmas. So first of all, we can't deny that Christmas is a very, very exciting time of the year for so many, especially living in this country when the majority of the people are Christians. For our children attending schools, they're surrounded by the festivities and the Christmas singing and the school plays and all of that stuff. So how do we approach Christmas as Muslims and raising Muslim children and Muslim families? It's a really good question, and it's something that I myself and my partner, we think about a lot and we do discuss a lot, because we need to know where we do stand. And even though there isn't one single correct approach about how we should go about it, I do believe that we should always go back to the basics and understand what Christmas is and what our own beliefs are as Muslims. So even though we've never been told by any scholars, as far as I'm aware, how as Muslims we should govern ourselves around the time of Christmas, I do think educating ourselves on our own beliefs and teaching our children about our beliefs is very important, especially around this time of the year, just so that our children don't have any misunderstandings, and us ourselves, we don't have any misunderstandings as well about where we stand with Christmas and where we stand with Isa Alaihissalam or Jesus. So first of all, I just want to get down to the basics and give you a brief, very, very brief summary of what we as Muslims believe about Isa alayhi salam or Jesus. So of course we do believe in Jesus, and Jesus or Isa alayhi salam plays a huge part of our religion, especially because he is the prophet of Allah and his name was mentioned 25 times in the Quran. So his birth was a very miraculous occasion, and his birth was a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show that Allah is truly capable of anything that is outside of the norm as well. So having that understanding and reaffirming that and teaching our children the story of Jesus that was mentioned in the Quran in chapters, the 3rd chapter and the 19th chapter, in pretty good detail, is we can go over that ourselves. So just a little brief information about Isa alayhi salam, about his birth, which I think is a marvelous story, a fabulous story. And my children who are young, they love to hear the story, and they tell me time and time again, "Mommy, tell me the story of Isa alayhi salam." And I tell them, and I don't say to them that the Christians are wrong, or we don't believe in, we can't go according to their beliefs. I just say to them that, look, the Christians believe this, but we as Muslims, we have this belief, and this is what we believe about Allah, and this is what we believe about Jesus. So obviously we know that the Christians do believe that Jesus is the Son of God, and we believe that La ilaha illallah, there is no God except for Allah. So that is a very good place to start, a very important place to start, because it helps you to understand where you stand when it comes to approaching Christmas as well. But I'm just going to get into that in a little bit more detail. So the story of the birth of Isa alayhi salam, truly miraculous. And I think it's something that if you don't know about, you should go out of your way to look into the Quran and to look at the translation of the story, so that you can feel that connection with Isa alayhi salam as well, especially around this time of the year when people are talking about Isa alayhi salam, the Christians are talking about Isa alayhi salam. It's very good to understand where your beliefs are as well. So the story of Mariam alayhi salam, Mary, she was a marvelous woman. She was a pious woman who devoted her whole life to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when it came to the time of her birth, the angel came to Mariam and gives her good news that she will have a baby. And she says to Allah that, Allah, how can I have a baby when no man has touched me? And Allah says that when I decide on something, then I say, it should be, and it is. So this just shows that Allah placed Isa Alaihissalam in this world not only to spread the message of Allah, but for his story to be assigned to so many, that Allah doesn't need to have a reason to do something. Allah doesn't need to do things with according to what's normal. So this was a miracle, and it was an amazing sign. And Mariam Alaihissalam was approached by the angel, and the whole story of how the Prophet Isa Alaihissalam spoke to the people, that as well was a miracle. We as Muslims, we call Isa Alaihissalam, we call him the Messiah. He's known in the Quran as Masih, which comes from the word Masah, which means to anoint. And interesting fact about the word Masih, it means to anoint, because Isa alayhi salam was given the ability to cure people's illnesses by simply wiping his hand over them. Like, these are the stories we need to be filling our young minds of our children and our own minds with, because sometimes in the hustle and bustle of Christmas, we almost forget who Isa alayhi salam was to us, because we're so focused on what's happening in everybody else's homes and festivities and how everybody else is celebrating. We forget that Isa alayhi salam is so important and so dear to us. So yes, do your research. It's there. The Quran is there for everybody. The Quran is easily accessible. And yes, even though we sometimes cannot understand the Quran, it's very important that we go out of our way to find a good translation that we can share with ourselves, our families, our neighbors, and those around us. So Christmas, even though some people say that, Christmas isn't for us, take it as an opportunity. Everything that we have in this country, take it as an opportunity to spread your beliefs as well, to allow people to see where you come from as well, rather than just shutting people down, saying, no, I don't believe in that, and I don't want to hear it. Instead, say, no, I hear your beliefs, and this is what we believe. So actually, we can unite. So Christmas doesn't have to be this bad thing that we need to stay away from and hide and shield our children from, because that would be impossible. We're living in a Christian country. It's not possible to say that my children are going to not take part in the festivities, because let's be honest, our children are going to be excited, and we can't think badly of them being excited, especially when it is made to be exciting. Especially in this country, we have the lights, we have the parties, we have everything, but it's also very important that we know where to draw the line. Me and my partner, we constantly have this conversation about how we want to raise our children and what we want to make normal for them. So in their schools, they'll be making Christmas cards, and I can't say to them that, I'm not okay with you making a Christmas card, because that's when, for me, I'm okay with that. However, I'm not going to encourage that in my home. So I tell them that you're doing this because you're part of, the country that we live in. They celebrate Christmas. We have our own festivities. And this also comes in really, the whole topic of understanding your identity as a Muslim, and having a strong identity in this country where we are the minority. So saying to them that it's okay, that, and appreciate their wonderful work, but say that this is our beliefs. Sit down with me, let's have a conversation. So it's really important that they know and understand where they're coming from and why they are taking part in these festivities, and they're taking part in all these things, especially when the children and their friends are saying that I went to see Santa and I wrote a letter to Santa and things like this. I take this as an opportunity to tell my children that they are Santa. We ask Allah for whatever we want, and get into the habit of talking about Allah and anything. We don't need to shut the topics down. We don't need to shy away from the conversations. Allow them to be curious. Allow them to have, they have curious minds. And the more we step up to this opportunity to make everything into a learning opportunity, the better it is for them to understand who they are, and it's even better for us to understand who we are. And it's okay to say that, especially if you have been celebrating Christmas in the past, but to say that, actually going forward, it doesn't sit right with me. And yes, we did do that, but I'm open to learning more about my religion, because at the end of the day, I know we're living in a day and age where we want to be modern Muslims and we want to fit in. But it's also important that before we're modern Muslims, we're Muslims, because there's a line that we can't cross. Like, I do believe that celebrating birthdays and all that, I personally don't celebrate birthdays, but I wouldn't say to somebody that, oh, you shouldn't be celebrating birthdays. It's that if that's what you're okay with, then by all means. But Christmas, it's a religious festival. And there's a line, and it can become shirk, because if you think about Christmas and the Christians' beliefs, they do believe that Isa Alaihissalam was the son of God, and that directly contradicts our religion. That directly goes against the teachings of La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. So I am very, very wary when it comes to what I'm bringing into my home. And I know it's become very normalized to have Christmas trees in your home and to have Christmas dinner. And I think what we need to do is go back and figure out why we're doing these things. Okay, so for example, Christmas time has arrived and I'm happy, I'm excited because I'm able to spend time with my family. Everybody's off, everybody's relaxing, everybody is now getting together with families. And I say that I'm getting together with my family because it's the holidays, not because I'm celebrating Christmas. Because you know, I have, especially because we're raising another generation, they will only absorb what they see, and we don't want to confuse their young minds. So most families get together on Christmas, and it's really important that we rectify our intentions and say we're getting together because we want to become closer as a family. We're getting together because everybody's off, not because we're celebrating Christmas. Because if you are celebrating Christmas, then you really do need to think, like, does this really align with my beliefs as a Muslim? Modern Muslim or not is out of the picture here, because it's about how you are, what are your beliefs as a Muslim. And if Christmas is aligned to your beliefs as a Muslim, then that's an interesting story for another time. But I know for many it can be a bit of a sticky situation approaching Christmas, and I will talk to you all more about this after the break, about how I personally like to approach Christmas. And if you do have any questions about this, about and anything you'd like to share about your experience as celebrating or being a part of the festivities in the UK especially, then feel free to WhatsApp us or call in on the numbers that are on screen, inshallah. And I will see you all after the break, inshallah. Feel free to message, all your messages will remain anonymous. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome back to our show, Ask the Alima. We actually have a caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you, sister? Are you okay?
I'm fine, thank you. Jazakallah. You were discussing about Christmas. I have one point to add in your discussion, please. Hello?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I think all these scholars, they should get together and find there should be a Islamic ruling on this issue, because we don't have as a Muslim authority to to say what to do on this occasion, because if we congratulate them, it's like we are accepting that Hazrat Isa Alaihissalam was born on that day, and whatever they're doing is right, because we need to have collective one opinion on this issue, and we should get together. Because when it comes to Islamic ruling, we don't have authority ourselves to make decision, because we need to be strict with the Islamic ruling.
Yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. Thank you very much for calling in and sharing that. It was definitely very insightful to hear that, that some people do believe that there should be just one ruling which we follow, and say that this is how we approach Christmas as Muslims. However, like many things in our religion, especially living in a country which is majority Christian practicing country, there isn't a black and white answer, and everybody has different ways in which they go about things. Especially, for example, just a quick one on this one is we have Muslim brothers and sisters who have families that are Christians, and how do they go about it? We can't say to them that we're going to cut off your family around this time of the year. It's haram, and it's not fair, because at the end of the day, it comes down to obviously your own beliefs, and it's families getting together, and you don't want it to be that we're offending families, we're offending people, because at the end of the day, Muslims sometimes already do come across as extremists. We don't tolerate other people, and it's not nice, and we don't want to do that. Like one example is when people say we're not allowed to say Merry Christmas. If you're not okay with that, then don't say it. I don't say Merry Christmas, I say Happy Holidays. It doesn't offend anyone, it doesn't upset anyone, and it's still lovely to wish people good. It's still good to wish people a happy holiday. I'm not going to be sad around this time of the year because Christmas isn't my festival. I'm going to be happy because people are happy. I'm going to be happy because I'm off on holidays, and it's okay to be happy. It's okay to be happy even when and just be accepting that if it offends you and if it upsets you that there's so much happening around Christmas, then you might want to move to a Muslim country and then see how it is from there. But to be honest, we can't shut it down, and we can't say that I'm going to be I'm not going to tolerate this, I'm not going to take part in it. I'm okay with enjoying the fact that the city is well lit around Christmas. It looks beautiful, there's no denying that. However, I'm going to enjoy it, but from a distance. I'm not going to light up my home, I'm not going to put a Christmas tree in the corner. And I always like to think about festivities in this way. And I know we like to celebrate so many things, just like I was talking about birthdays. We like to celebrate birthdays. Some Muslims celebrate Christmas. And I always say, think about it like this. Does what you're doing bring you closer to Allah in any way? Because it goes back to why we were created in the first place. Allah created us solely for the purpose of worshipping Him. So everything that we do in this world, everything, whether it comes to raising our children, whether it comes to going to work, whether it comes to celebrating, whatever it is it bringing us closer to Allah? Is it assisting us in our journey to Allah? And I truly believe that me living in this country, in a Christian country, raising Muslim children, I can still use Christmas to become closer to Allah and allow my children to become closer to Allah, because I'm now educating about where we stand and educating them about how important Mariam Alaihissalam was to us. I have a daughter, and I love to tell her about Mariam Alaihissalam. I love to tell her about how she was one of the women who was mentioned in the Quran many times. I love to tell my daughter and my son about how pure she was, about the story of when she was born. And I love telling them about Isa. They don't stop asking, and I love that. So it's really important, like I mentioned before, to educate ourselves, because sometimes when we are surrounded by the Christian beliefs about Isa alayhi salam, it's kind of sad, but we almost know what the Christians believe more than what Muslims believe. And it's sad, but it's true, because if you ask people, sit and ask your family, what do you know about Isa alayhi salam? See what they have to say, and that's probably what you need to work on, because if they can't say much other than, oh yeah, he's the prophet of Allah and that's all, then that I think would be more of an area of concern than thinking about saying than thinking about worrying about them saying Merry Christmas. Because I think understanding your religion is a really important factor to understanding where you stand as a Muslim in a Christian country. And I do believe that we should be holding very tight onto our identity and having a firm identity, because it can be it's very wishy-washy. We can't be attending the Jummah and attending the Friday khutbah for Jummah and then coming back and then sitting by a Christmas tree and singing carols. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. So again, it's not black and white. However, I think it may be time for us collectively as Muslims to understand, maybe figure out what kind of teachings we want in our home. because it's only a good way to think about this is it's only because of our predecessors, especially if you're born Muslim. If you're born Muslim, alhamdulillah, it's very easy for us to celebrate and to be, we're brought up of Muslims and to have all the Muslims' beliefs instilled within us from a young age. But if it wasn't for our predecessors, if it wasn't for our grandparents and our great-grandparents being firm on the deen, we may not have had Islam today. We may have been brought up as non-Muslim. It may have been that we didn't find our path towards Islam. So now we need to think about it for our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. So if it is that you're thinking, I'm okay, this is okay, I'm sure I can get away with this, I'm still Muslim at the end of the day because I believe in Allah, your children witness what you bring into your home, and they will interpret it however they want to interpret it, and they will carry on. And slowly, unfortunately, things do get diluted along the way, and they will come with their own beliefs, and they'll have their own struggles. And that's why it's really important that we have firm beliefs about Islam, because at the end of the day, it's okay to say, I want to be a modern Muslim, I want to fit in. But if it's not in line to what we believe as Muslims, then it's kind of important to think, do I want to be a modern Muslim that fits in, or do I want to be a modern Muslim that is Muslim? So I know it's tricky, especially with the holidays approaching and everything being thrown in your face. We do take advantage, even as Muslims, we take advantage of Christmas period. We take the holidays, we attend the sales, we eat the the chocolates, and we do take advantage of it, but there's a line that shouldn't be crossed, and understanding where that line is for you is super important. If you have any questions about this, then do feel free to drop in a WhatsApp message or give us a call on the number that's displayed on the screen, inshallah. And I will be checking the Facebook messages to see if there are any questions, and I'll be answering that, inshallah, all at a future date. But again, another thing I would like to touch up on just before the end of the show is really important that we as Muslims understand what our festivals are, understand what our celebrations are, and making them just as exciting for ourselves and for our children as well, because otherwise they'll be thinking, well, why is it that Christmas is so exciting and Eid isn't? Why is it that they look forward to Christmas and not for Eid? So making our own celebrations really exciting, and understanding where they're coming from and talking about them and preparing for them, and not just waking up for Eid and just going along with it and making it boring, and not making it exciting, because this is where our celebrations are. This is meant to be our day of excitement and happiness and blessings. So turn to Allah throughout the year, whether it's Christmas, whether it's Eid, whether it's Ramadan. Everything is an opportunity to learn more about our religion, learn more about our deen, to celebrate our religion, celebrate who we are as Muslims, to learn more about the prophets, to learn more about Isa Alaihissalam, to learn more about the rest of the prophets as well. At the end of the day, it's really important, like I mentioned earlier, that everything that we do fits within our purpose as Muslims, because it can get very noisy. There's a lot of things happening in our life that we forget our purpose. But if every day we make it a thing that we do, where we remember our purpose and rectify our intentions, everything that I do is for Allah. My prayer is for Allah. My life is for Allah. I raise my children for Allah, and I devote my life to Allah. And we have so many things that are going on, but that doesn't mean we need to forget Allah. Christmas can be an opportunity for you to remember Allah. As strange as that sounds, it's the truth, and that's how I myself like to approach Christmas as a Muslim. It doesn't have to be something that we see, oh, it's so bad, I'm going to stay away from it. It's not bad. Christmas isn't evil. It's not bad. It's just that Christmas is for the Christians, and I am Muslim, and I'm surrounded by it, but it doesn't mean I need to take part in it or go out my way to bring Christmas into my home, because I want to have a home where I feel Islam, I feel Muslim, and I'm proud of my identity. And of course, there's no one way to go about it. Everybody has their individual approach, and that's okay too. And it's also okay to say, I'm continuously learning, I'm evolving, I'm learning new things about my religion, and I may not have been okay with the way I was doing things before, but now I want to create new beliefs in my home that are more in tune with how I feel as a Muslim. And I'm constantly learning and I'm constantly growing closer to Allah. And that's a beautiful thing to do, because we are open to learning more, rather than closing our heart and closing the doors of our heart to say, this is where I stand and I'm not open to learning more, because everything is a learning journey and we don't just stay as we are. We could constantly learn and grow and become closer to Allah. So I'm going to leave that at that, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Allah, ya Allah.